Episode 1. At the beginning, a small prince is seen who is sitting far away from his castle. A shadow-like creature sees the prince and he never saw him coming to this place. The prince starts to run away, but the creature chases him and asks the prince to introduce himself. Actually, the prince is deaf and dumb. The creature somehow understands the prince and asks the prince to give him all his money. The prince does not have money, so he asks him to give him his clothes. The prince gives all of his clothes to him and starts running toward his castle. The prince's name is Baji. Everyone thinks that Baji is very weak and stupid because he is unable to lift even a toy sword. For many days Baji goes to meet that creature and gives him expensive clothes. In this way the shadow creature and Baji became good friends. That creature's name is Cage. Baji tells Cage that he is the prince and that in the future he will become a good king. King laughs at him because he is disabled. How can he become a good king? Baji tells Cage that he is serious about that he has to become a good king because he promised his mother that one day he will become a good king. Baji goes back home. Cage also follows him. Baji is laughed at by people on the way. When he reaches home, the queen scolds Baji. The queen's name is Hailing. She is Baji's stepmother. A man named Damaz tells Baji that his father wants to meet him. Baji goes to his room, changes his clothes, and then goes to meet his father. His father's name is Boss. Then we saw flashbacks that many years ago some monsters attack humans and Boss saved them by killing all the monsters. From then Boss's kingdom started. Boss is a giant. Here we get to know that Boss is worried about his kingdom because he is very ill and he knows that he will die soon. He orders Damaz to train Baji well. Then we saw that Damaz is teaching Baji about the use of swords. Baji's stepbrother named Data comes there and challenges Baji or a sword match. Damaz does not allow Baji to fight, so Data challenges Damaz. Data is very good at using swords, but Damaz beat him with ease. Baji then comes to fight with Data. Damaz stops him, but he insists on fighting with Data. Everyone present there knows that Data is going to win, but Baji dodges Data's attack as well as he also hit him. Episode 2. Then we saw the story of Cage. We saw many creatures like Cage who are getting killed. Cage is a kid and his mom is carrying him to go away from the kingdom. Cage and his mother are getting chased by the soldiers. Cage's mother asks him to go to the forest. Cage's mother gets killed by the soldiers. The soldiers go to chase Cage, but a little girl saved him and then tells Cage to go to the other kingdom. Cage was a kid at that time. He tries very hard to survive. When he gets hungry, he steals food, so shopkeepers beat him. One day a man gives him a place to live. He also gives him his leftovers. He uses Cage to steal money. That's why a bounty is placed on Cage's head. One day he gives Cage's address to the police so he can get that prize money. Cage manages to run away from that. Cage returns to that man, but he doesn't allow Cage to enter his house. One day in a bar, that man gets killed in a fight. Cage gets very sad because he is the only person Cage knows. After his death, Cage moves from one kingdom to kingdom, but everyone treats him badly. Cage misses his family very much. Then he remembers his mother's sayings. His mother told him that they are assassins and on the king's order they have to kill people. Then we see Data and Baji fight. Data tries very hard, but he is unable to even touch Baji. Data trainer named Bibin was also there watching the fight. Damaz stops the fight and in sign language gives some instructions to Baji. After that, Baji stops dodging Data's hits and starts a head-on fight with Data. Baji loses to Data. Damaz is watching Baji getting beaten up. Cage runs to stop the fight, but then a spear was shot at the ground which stops the fight. That spear has been shot by a man named Apias. He is the strongest spearman in the kingdom. Damaz announces Data as a winner. Baji is not in a good stage. Cage thinks that Damaz is not trustworthy. Baji tries to lift a sword, but he is unable to, so he starts to cry. He heard Cage and turns back at him, wiping his tears, and then he passes a smile toward Cage. Cage tells Baji that no matter what happens in the fight, he is the winner and his fighting style is very good. Cage tells Baji that he will always be there and will never leave Baji. After hearing that, Baji gets very emotional and he starts to cry. EP3. At night, Baji is resting on his bed and Cage was also there. Someone comes into Baji's room. Cage thinks that the person is coming to kill Baji, but in reality, that person heals Baji. Cage was about to leave the castle, but the swordsman again caught him, and this time he won't let Cage run away. The next day, King dies. Everyone stands there crying, and a man present there starts to read the king's will. In King will it is written that Baji will be the next king. After that, a monster appears from the body of King and points at Baji and starts laughing. After that, the monster disappears. The next day, the new king is revealed and it is Data. Baji is very confused, and then we saw the explanation of it. The queen doesn't agree with King's will and they vote for which Data wins. On the other hand, Cage was in jail and he tries to run, but that swordsman again caught him. Cage tells him that he doesn't come here to kill anybody, in fact he is here to help Baji. Baji gets very sad and sits in his favorite spot. Swordsman asks him about Cage. Baji tells him that Cage is his friend. Swordsman tells Baji that Cage leaves for a journey and from now on he will never meet him. Baji gets very sad. Then we see that Data takes all of his decision by asking from a mirror. Then he tells Swordsman that he wants to be number 1 in the king's ranking, and for that, he had to eliminate volatility. Data orders Swordsman to kill Appius and Sandio because they vote for Baji instead of him. Swordsman gets very shocked because Appius and Sandio are very loyal, and he knows that it is not his decision. This decision is taken by the mirror. On the other hand, Baji was searching for Cage. A large snake tells Baji that Cage is safe and he was sent on a journey by Bibin. Bibin goes to kill Appius, but Appius is so strong that he beat Bibin. The next day, Queen gets to know that Appius and Sandio resign. Data tells the Queen that he wants to throw Baji out of the castle, but his mom stops him. Baji, on the other hand, decides to go on a journey. He goes to take permission from the Queen, but the Queen stops him by saying that he is so weak and he cannot take care of himself. Baji gets very sad and leaves there. He packs his bag and tries to leave, but the Queen comes there. He falls from the roof and gets injured. The Queen heals him with her healing ability. Then we saw flashbacks to when Baji is very small and when he first time meet Hyling. At first, he did not talk much with Hyling. But one day Hyling helps Baji heal a snake. After that they both get very close. Here we get to know that Hyling loves Baji a lot. The next day Queen gives permission to Baji, but Baji has to go on a journey with Damaz and another guy. Queen told Baji that after the journey he will return to her. After he leaves, Queen gets a very bad feeling that after that she will never meet Data and Baji. Episode 4. Then we get to know about Damaz's past. The king appoints him for teaching swordsmanship to Baji. He is very excited and his style of fighting matches the boss's style. Queen Hyling teaches him sign language to talk with Baji. Damaz promises Baji that he will protect him always. After that, we saw that in the present a judge from the ranking committee is in the kingdom. The judge meets Appius. Appius asks the judge that whoever gets the first rank gets a chance to take anything from the divine treasure. But after taking anything from the treasure, the king gets mentally disturbed or he gets disappeared. Why is that? The judge does not tell to Apes. He said that he is not allowed to tell anything. After that we see Data and he is talking with that magic mirror. The magic mirror asks Data to kill Baji and Data gives someone an order to kill Baji. Data then fights with a monster in front of the judge, but he loses and the judge tells him that his ranking is 90. Data gets very angry after hearing that. On the other hand, Baji reaches a new city. Damaz there asks the other man to take care of Baji and then he goes somewhere. Baji then suddenly disappears. The other man searches for Baji and when he finds him he was sleeping. Baji then realizes that his bag is lost. Damaz then scolded the other man. Then they go for dinner and Damaz asks the other man if he was ready to obey each and every order. He replies that he doesn't know what Damaz says, that you have to obey every order. Stop thinking about the orders and just obey them. After that, they are about to leave this city. On the way Baji found his bag, and nothing was stolen from it. They continue their journey in the way they face many monsters, but one day Baji tries to chase a butterfly and gets trapped. Damaz and the others are unaware of it because they are walking ahead of Baji. Baji met a man in the cave and he tells him in sign language about his situation. That man was a hunter. He and Baji do a ritual and then suddenly that man asks Baji if he will sacrifice his life for him. After hearing this, Baji runs from there. Damaz then found Baji in the jungle. At night when Baji was about to eat its dinner, someone attacks him. Damaz gets attentive but no one was present there and the meal that was dropped from Baji was eaten by a family of the fox. The next day we get to know that the fox family is dead, meaning that Baji's meal was poison. They then reach the next city. There was a gate there named Gate of Hell. Damaz sent the other man to book a room for them and he takes Baji to see the gate. Baji gets very scared from the gate. Damaz asks Baji to come to the edge and he then pushes Baji into the Gate of Hell. And that's all for today guys. Stay tuned to get more new videos. Stay safe and keep watching.